What we're getting into, ElevateAgility Labs, is our offshore, nearshore offering where we are focused on accelerating enterprise delivery. And I did put together a little montage inspired by Brad last week. Brad, don't worry, I still need your services, but I really wanted to tell our backstory so you guys can see what it looks like when an amateur does their own thing. But please do take a look at our backstory, because this is what's been the motivation for us to even experience this and come up with this business idea in the last 8 months. So as far as where we're talking today, we're really looking at this outsourcing market. And in the past, CEOs have leveraged outsourcing really to just reduce costs. They would outsource those routine business functions so that they could pay attention to the core business in-house. And they were certainly looking for the cheapest market. So most people think of India as that place for outsourcing. We'll see there's lots of other places we're going to today. But starting in about 2018, Deloitte did a study and really exposed that today smart CEOs are really looking to get disruptive outsourcing. Partner with companies so they can reimagine and transform so they have a competitive advantage. And if you guys think about COVID today, right? McKinsey started talking about this notion of the new normal. It really is about digital transformation and the acceleration that's happened. They'll tell you that in the last, basically in about 5 weeks when COVID hit, we saw digital transformation roadmaps that would have been executed in 5 years go to market. Now, the thing is that they're kind of calling it acceleration by adrenaline. And what you really need to do then after this as we emerge is speed by design. And I'll get into what that looks like. But just for your context, what's disruptive outsourcing? It's really this notion that we need to, one, enable that competitive advantage, leverage emerging solutions. So go get the latest technology, couple that with agile practices, the ways of working, and then incorporate things like cloud, remote, robotic process automation, so that we can work smarter, scale faster, get to new markets, and increase productivity, and ultimately achieve true business agility. And when I say business agility, this goes beyond IT. This really is about the notion of concept to cash. When there is an idea in the market, how quickly can we get there? We had a local business that I thought was a great example of this, the distillery. They actually transferred their making of whiskey into making of hand sanitizer. So small businesses, business agility isn't such a big deal. You start to go to Fortune 500 enterprises and you try to turn that ship, it just doesn't happen. And that's where they're needing to outsource today. When we talk about outsourcing, there's 3 different types or places that you might outsource to. Onshore, being here in the United States, we have a company called Onshore just north up in Moberly. Then there's the notion of offshoring. These are countries that are, 4 and 5 time zones away. Eastern Europe, India would be included there. And then as of late, we've seen a lot more nearshoring. So countries that are, 1 or 2 time zones away from us, generally South America. The one thing that we haven't seen, and don't tell anybody till I get there, is really this hidden gem, which is Jamaica and the Caribbean. And we are seeing some people in Costa Rica coming closer because they recognize that there's a big gap with the just with geography and culture. So when we look at going from traditional outsourcing to this disruptive outsourcing, you can see how the pendulum switches here. And it really requires us to become a strategic partner, not just someone to do work transfer for. Hope that makes sense. So those same CEOs, as they're looking to do these outsourcing initiatives, like there's more to it, right? And they shouldn't have to fight with the time zone difference that just inherently builds in waste. There's missed delivery dates. We used to call this the watermelon approach to planning. It's all green until you cut it open and you look inside and it's actually red, and you don't get any warning. And some of that comes in culturally from the hierarchies that exist in some of these countries where, there's not this transparency. Team members don't feel like they can be, forthright and tell you when they're off. You get that dichotomy with a consulting relationship. It just isn't ideal. And a lot of times, and especially as we've looked at this, I've heard people say, oh, you're just creating another body shop. And that's not what we're doing. But that's what exists in the market, where you get people, you throw some requirements, what you want built over the wall to some developers in a big cube farm. And what we really need is innovators. And so they're not partnering. And then what we found, even though, especially in a publicly traded company, outsourcing is a very popular strategy and it looks great on the bottom line. But when you come to it, you end up paying 2, 3, 4 times more because of the defects that are inherent there. So they're struggling with speed. You guys know this technology is exponential and COVID has really accelerated that. The quality or lack thereof is going to drive ROI and talent. You guys, there's a shortage of IT talent in the United States. And if you get to the highly specialized folks, you'll find that it's even more sparse. And so companies just can't hire that talent at the speed of which they need. And if they don't find these effective solutions, they're going to fail to increase their revenue growth. They can't adopt these new technologies, AI, machine learning, go into the cloud. They're going to fall behind their competitors. And I think in the next few months, we're going to see that happening. We're already seeing some of those bankruptcies come in, right? Again, the tech that's not there, reduced, they're not going to get the cost savings that they thought they were get. And then even adopting new ways of working, it's just not going to happen. And even worse, like I said, going out of business. So really the path to success, and you'll see this metaphor come up, climbing Mount Everest, right? You need to know what the path is, and it's disruptive outsourcing combined with agility, and then this nearshore offering. And research will show you everywhere. When we started practicing Agile, by the way, at Carfax, I wish Forbes and McKinsey was talking about the true business value of the way that you work. But you'll see that it's just not, it's table stakes today. And if companies don't change the way they're working, they're gonna fall behind. So I don't know if you realize this or not, but Sherpas actually have adapted DNA that allows them to work at high altitude. And that's really what we're creating in our center, is this DNA that's all around the speed by design. Our developers have done this. We've worked in an agile way for the last 15, sometimes 20 years. And that's the knowledge that we're bringing to bear in these different areas. And these are the adaptations around nimble teams, being able to scale the network of teams, creating that extraordinary partnership with our clients and helping them not only to deliver software, but to adapt these new ways of working. And so when we look at how, what does that path to success look like? If you want to have better reliability, control, the responsiveness and the market knowledge, and have that ease of communication, it's these 3 areas that we need to focus on. 1, you're not going to be able to buy it. So our clients or you're not going to be able to build it. Our clients are looking to buy that partnered relationship with top talent. And then the quality. We've invested and know the return on investment of these agile practices, from DevOps to XP, and then even into modern product management practices. So we can bring that to bear for our clients. And then we're combining that with these innovative design thinkers and expert software engineers to really give you that success factor. So the Elevate way is really about our talent. We've got the top talent, our engagement approach. It's customer centric. We're not just building software and widgets. We're really solving business problems. We've got an enablement model where we can actually help our clients learn how to work the way we work, rather than just do it for them. And then of course, technical agility, as we mentioned, and business agility. And I think this number 5 is really where we're seeing the industry go as far as that whole, when I talked about that concept to cash, it involves HR, finance, the way that we work as an entire organization. And if you took the best development team and made them agile, they're perfect, they're doing DevOps, but you put them into an organization that is not agile in and of itself, it will fail. So we help you to have that holistic approach. So our team, we're bringing some really great people to bear with this. Jamie Pretty, I've worked with Jamie in my past endeavors as an Agile coach. She's an awesome business developer and is bringing us into some of the biggest companies here in the States, and looking for new opportunities as well. I have hidden the faces of our developers because we are launching but we're launching with a unique strategy in that we're going to leverage pair programming, with our first teams being half US based and half Jamaican. And then we'll be 100% remote, so we can share that knowledge and also, not ask everybody to move to Jamaica unless, of course, you want to. So what's the market look like? It is growing. We're at about 500-ish. I guess it was at 360 or something in 2019. Projected growth at a capitalized growth rate of 7.5% in 2027 to being $937 billion market. So I'm okay taking just a little bit of that. Our offerings, you can see our key buyers. There's two sets that I'm going to share with you. We're focused on 10 million to 150 million capitalized or annualized revenue. CTOs, VPs, and product managers in this core set, where you can see we're going to do web and mobile development, cloud solutions, agile coaching, and product management. There is another area that we want to focus on, and you can see where Jamaica comes in. So we are going to leverage talent from the Jamaican tech sector in order to enable some of that offshoring and those cost savings, as well as just new talent and features. The other area here that I've just really learned about and dug into this week was kind of a unique, and I think it's going to be our differentiator. It really is working with startups, funded startups, and potentially the other C-suite in the business. So think CMO, our HR departments. Those organizations have funds, and they often struggle to get their projects into an IT team. So we're going to go directly after those C-suite folks and help them have their external IT system that's not bogged down with the KTLO, the keep the lights on type work. So that's our positioning there. The channels we're going through, marketing will be digital. We're going to do a lot, of course, with SEO and social marketing with LinkedIn. And then Jamie comes in and our other sales folks as we bring them along in direct sales to companies. Here's our value prop. We kind of talked about that, partnering to accelerate the innovative and emerging technologies and making that your competitive advantage. Here's our competition. There's really nobody over here with us. There's several companies, and honestly, as I put these up here, they're kind of my heroes. So I don't have anything I can say when we talk about Gorilla Logic, Worldwide, Menlo. They're doing technical agility right, but where they lack is bringing in the business agility. And then the companies I've worked in, the Fortune 500s that I've consulted with, they leverage these big guys. And when it comes to that engagement, they're very much on the technical agility side. They are moving up to disruptive outsourcing. In speak, I challenge, especially on the Agile side, whether or not it is in practice. So why do you outsource? We look at labor cost. What's the educational infrastructure look like? How many companies are there? How much development talent is in the country? Do they speak English? What are the cultural differences? And then, of course, are there time zone differences? Here are the countries that are the main outsourcers. The Ukraine and Poland seem to be the top competitors as far as that with quality. A lot of these are challenged with the culture differences and the language barriers, the Philippines being the exception there. So why Jamaica? If you do any research, and I've just really kind of dug in, of course, with figuring this all out, but Jamaica is really poised to be the Singapore of the West. And there's several reasons for that. Number one, the country has an initiative, it's called a Vision 2030, and they're building up several different sectors, IT being one. They've started with business process outsourcing like call centers, and they're wanting to build that even further. As I've talked to them and told them what we're doing, they're kind of considering, call centers BPO 1.0 and us 4.0. Like they really want the higher tech work to come in the country. A lot of people don't realize the knowledge and the successful people who have come out of Jamaica. Colin Powell's from Jamaica, Marcus Garvey, and actually when we get the tie to Singapore, the economy in Singapore was developed largely by Garvey's teaching in economics. And there's a whole interesting story there I'd love to share with you later. But just know the education is there. The country, you can see here, invests heavily in college and literacy rates. A lot of people think, they're a third world country. Very smart people, and I've been super impressed. And then third, you can see that the nearshore opportunities, Kingston, the capital of Jamaica, was voted the nearshore destination of choice, if you will. So where are we as far as getting there? We have done kind of our feasibility study. We're now in testing it. We'd like to stand up our first teams by the end of Q4 this year, and then begin to operationalize those the first quarter of next year. And by the end of 2021, we are going to have 8 teams fully funded, operational, and then expanding from there. So that is Elevate Agility. What questions are there?
That's awesome. And thank you for the slide here. We'll leave this up for a little bit with your contact information and also kind of what you're asking for. So great presentation. Thank you so much for that, Nicole. Very comprehensive. So that's awesome.